Okay, this is the second time I'm trying to record this video because my iPad ran out of storage, um, which I guess isn't as big of a deal, which was the point of the video, I guess. Um, I was talking about how I found myself in this weird existential state where I was reacting more so to the existence of problems than I was trying to solve. Well, I was more so concerned with the existence of problems, of things not going my way, than I was with figuring out how to get around problems and things not going my way. And I found myself having bigger reactions to the idea that problems and things out of my control, specifically things that would inconvenience me, would just be a regular part of my life. And that, I was debating, had I done something to deserve this? Was this something that was just, I found myself in this just state of questioning whether or not, quite frankly, this was hell. I mean, I was in a weird place. Um, because I was like, I know now that all that had occurred was that I had made my perception. I kind of zoomed in. My perception of things had become very, very limited to an immediate space and time. And I, I was just caught up in immediate explosive reactions more so than I was in managing things in the long term. If you look at a way I've been kind of picturing it in my head is, when you have an idea or something that you want to accomplish, it's like a straight line in your head. The line of logic is just a straight line. It makes sense. And then all of a sudden there's something that just cuts it off. And what I would do is I would sit there and I would be like, "Oh fuck, that makes no fucking sense. Why the fuck is that happening? What the fuck?" And what I'm starting to realize is that the problems themselves are not as big as my reaction to their existence. Um, and that if I just keep going and find a way to kind of turn that cutoff into a loop that gets me back to getting creating what it is I want to create for myself, um, it'll seem a lot smaller than it would if I just exploded and gave up because it existed. If the line was only this long and I stopped right here, that's as long as it is. In proportion, that cutoff is as huge as the line is. But if I just keep going and just manage the fact that that's just going to be a part of it, that things just aren't going to go my way, and so I'm going to constantly have to loop around every cutoff into being back, into being, the plan that I had. Um, then those cutoffs are going to seem real small after a while. They're going to seem small and easy to manage. And, when I look at it that way, the cutoffs stop seeming like inconveniences and start seeming like opportunities. It starts seeming like, if life is if existence is a place where you have to maintain some sort of repetition in order to keep yourself stable and taken care of, well then any inconvenience is likely not necessarily an inconvenience, but more so an opportunity for life to kind of provide you a different experience than the mundanity, than the repetition of maintaining life. So, in the context where I've stopped exploding at the idea that an inconvenience exists, and I started just going with it and trying to turn things back into, whatever plan or action I was trying to, whatever emotion I was in, that really, when the cutoff happens and when I'm not And when life isn't, when life isn't exactly what I think it is and what I plan for it to be, I'm really being offered the chance to experience a story, an event, to experience new people, new things that I myself could not have thought of if life wouldn't have just said, hey, fuck you. Like, in a way, if life had not just said, oh, bro, I kind of don't care, there's people I wouldn't have met. There are things that I wouldn't have gone through. There are stories that I wouldn't have, stories that I enjoy, things that I'm glad happened that I wouldn't have experienced had life just been exactly what I thought, what I think it is. So it's funny, when I was first thinking of this idea, I thought that the answer was humor. I thought that when things went wrong, like that, whenever you did come across inconveniences in your lines of plot or whatever, that, your best method was to just laugh at it. And I do think that's true to an extent. I mean, turn those inconveniences into stories, make them an adventure. They're gonna happen anyway. They're gonna happen anyway. Make them an adventure. Enjoy them for what they are. Me personally, I couldn't, as of right now, I don't think I could survive an entirely repetitious life. I don't think that I could do exactly the same thing every day. I don't think that I could stay in a routine forever. Something would have to happen, I especially because of how much I want to learn right now, and how much I'm trying to gain the experience I need to tackle some of the issues that I think are going to approach me as I mature. Um, those inconveniences, you know, the other day my earphones, I just looked on the ground and they were broken, and I hadn't done anything to them. They were just fucking pulled apart. I had to go to the store to get more earphones. Who knows what's gonna happen? Who knows what's gonna happen on that walk? Who knows who I'm gonna meet, where I'm actually gonna end up? You know, somebody I know could just be driving down the street and then I just go somewhere for the night. Anything could happen. So long as I don't just sit there and piss my pants over the fact that something that I didn't want to happen happened. Sorry, I have to kind of I mean, I have to talk down on myself in a way, because as much as I can be understanding of my reactions, it's also something that I don't want to be a normal. Like, I don't want to normalize having such a huge reaction to inconveniences. I don't want to normalize, for myself at least, inconveniences seeming like the end of the world. So I kind of have to, call myself a bitch a little bit. I kind of have to, treat myself like I'm being a sissy, if you will. And because if not, I'm sitting there telling myself it's okay to do that. And the truth is it's not, Trying to be understanding of myself all the time, constantly trying to justify my reactions, is not going to help me overcome them after a while. I can understand them for sure. I can I can be empathetic, but Jesus Christ. Sorry, I just shouldn't have said that. I'm watching 911. It's a pretty good show. Um I know that there are going to be some inconveniences that still piss me off. Some things that I think are just going to take me too far off of, all the other context that I'm trying to create for myself. At the same time, I think that's healthy. I mean, I think it's fair. I mean, you don't want life to be nothing but inconveniences. I think it's fair to constantly want to try and prevent inconveniences from happening to an extent. Well, no, no. I think it's fair to want to prevent inconveniences whatsoever. I think that's completely fair. At the same time, when shit out of my control takes place, like, what can I do about it? If I'm not responsible for the inconvenience, what the fuck can I do about it but just go along with whatever's going on? Given that nobody, given the obvious, like I shouldn't, given the obvious, no one's being hurt. It's like, given the obvious things, why not just make an adventure out of everything? If it's gonna happen either way, if there's nothing that I can do to just make the world a perfect place for me, to make the world a place where nothing ever goes wrong and everyone's getting exactly what they want, if there's nothing that I can do, then why not just try to make fun of how things are? And perhaps I'll realize, sorry, I'm tripping. I'm going too far into it. I think I found a mindset that helps me appreciate inconveniences and make light of them. Not in the sense that I'm like, oh, just let bad shit happen. Just let all the bad shit happen. But in the sense that I'm like, well, shit, if bad shit's gonna happen anyway, fucking being a little bitch about it's not gonna fucking help anything. So, that was a good one for me. I mean, that mindset, whatever I just saw, I think that was a good one for me. Like that alleviated some of the stress. It feels like I have pressure in my brain right now, and like I'm trying to alleviate it. And that was a good one. I worded that a lot better than I thought I was going to. I'll be honest with you. I'm kind of proud of myself because that's some shit that fucking I thought was gonna be way tougher to say. And I think it's underappreciated when something is said so well that it seems like it was already understood. When something was said so well that it seems as if it was obvious. That's a skill right there. That's something that's communication right there. I'm watching this show 911. The video's probably gonna end soon, because I don't have storage on this iPad. But I'm watching 911, and I really like this show because it kind of falls into this philosophy I have about um, everyone's brains being like eyeballs. Like we're all like your two eyeballs. You just have two of them, and what they do is they see two slightly different images, and they communicate with one another to kind of create a more detailed and more informed picture of what's occurring around you. And I think that we individually function, we've been given our own perception. We've been separated from one another. We don't experience each other's feelings. Like actively, we're not actively experiencing each other's thoughts. We have to tell each other what we're thinking. We're not actively experiencing each other's feelings. We have to explain our feelings to others. Um, and and in that way, I think that we we function like eyeballs in the sense that there's an image being shared between my two eyeballs. There's an image being shared between everybody in the world, everybody in society, everybody wherever. There's an image being shared between all of us. And the better we are at explaining what we're seeing, the better we are at explaining what we're thinking, our reactions, the more effective, the more informed that image between everybody becomes. And so, in my opinion, when somebody is saying something that they feel like they needed to say, and they're saying it in a way that it just seems like it was already obvious, well then shit, bro. Maybe they fucking like maybe they figured out how to say that shit to everybody so well that it's like we already knew it. Not that we already knew it, but that it was easy to figure out. I mean, I'll be honest with you. If something's easy to figure out after somebody else says it, it's probably because they communicated it pretty fucking well. Oh my god, I hate that. Like my neck is. I fucking hate that feeling, bro. I hate that so much. I don't hate it, but it's so confusing to me. It feels like my body is trying to like evolve on the spot. I hate that so much. But yeah, I mean that's the end of the video. I have really nothing else to say at the moment. For now, in this current space and time. I bet there's another thing. There's probably something I'm missing. It's space time and something else. There's probably another thing, bro. If I figure out what that other thing is, bro, I guarantee you my perception of life will fucking explode, bro. Bro, if I can figure out what else there is other than space and time, bro, that would be so awesome. There's gotta be some. There's gotta be way more things, bro. There's gotta be way more. Obviously, we have to keep it simple for communication's sake, but there's gotta be way more things, bro. There's gotta be way more things other than space and time. There's gotta be something else. At least one more. There's gotta be something else. That's just like we can see it, but we don't know how to discuss it. There's got to be something that we're experiencing that we don't know how to discuss. Now, I do believe that not everything needs to be described, because sometimes you'll just confuse and muddy the situation. But shit, bro, my life is not perfect by any means right now, so I feel like right now is the time to muddy shit up and figure it out. Not that I want to be suffering all the time, but I at least want to be in an environment that would support me, where I would survive being able to do that, be where I would survive being able to be wrong for a little bit, where I would be able to survive not knowing for a little bit, not having to fucking know everything for a little bit. Which I'm headed to. Headed to. Oh, bro, look at my nostrils. I don't have any boogers in my nose. Is that a booger? No, it's just light. It's just lighting coming. It's lighting reflecting off of my hair follicles. Oh my gosh. Oh my fucking head, dude. My migraines are going away, but they're getting worse at the same time. It's like new ones come in. But at least they don't hurt like they used to. I must have developed a real good pain tolerance or something. Bro, I used to fucking cry over everything. Not everything, but I used to cry over a lot of shit, bro. Like, I used to cry over a lot of shit, bro. I was sensitive as fuck, bro. And I think the sensitivity is what might be contributing to my ability to experience. Like the reason that I experience things in such an intricate way that I have to describe it in such an intricate way is because of how sensitive my brain is. It's like, um, it's like pixels on a television screen. You know, the more pixels you have, the more detailed, the more high definition the image is. It's like I have so many pixels that that hmm, maybe that's backwards. That would kind of suggest that I have so no, that's not how that works because it would still muddy up the picture if I didn't have enough pixels. So yeah, that probably is what's happening. It's like my brain has more senses. It has more sensitive senses, and so everything that occurs is occurring like tenfold for me, and I just have to deal with that. I just have to be a man. But it helps me understand things a little better. Not than a person or not than a group of people, but shit, it helps me. It helps me understand things. There's something really sad about a world where you can only be successful in contrast to others. If you can't just be successful, bro, that's fucked up. Like there's something wrong with life. But that might just be one of those inconveniences that I'm not just that I'm reacting too big to right there. Oh, that hurt my fucking neck, bro. It's like my body's having an immediate reaction to my thoughts. I, while I still have space, I want to bring up something else that's really important. It's primal human behavior and how I think that it's been confused with sexual behavior. Sexual behavior is not primal. Primal behavior is the behavior of things caught in a perpetual state of fear, in a perpetual state of panic. Behavior does not become primal